It is full jungle focus. Wei has said, I've had enough. I have also been getting bodied 2 games in a row by Junhao. Take away all of his champions. Vi, Nidalee, Pantheon, they're all gone.
Yeah, the Nidalee ban is wild, but that's where we are. So we will see, obviously, and I think that with the style that I saw from TT in Game 2, I'm ready to give them a lot of grace with the way that they decide to draft. I said in their last one, hey, you know, you're going to struggle with the comp you've drafted for yourselves, and then they won anyway. So we'll see, as it's a Varus lock-in here for JiaQi, a pick that is very frequently put on the ban table. And as IG here, you've put so many wayward bans onto the ban table. There's still quite a lot of things that are relatively strong and that are open. As you get to see the Varus being picked up, locked on in, that feels really good. And it's TT responding with the notorious Varus answer here, with the Wukong here, that's going to be a absolute disaster for the Varus to deal with.
We don't have to, you know, we don't, the Annie is not going to go over to IG. We're going to have the combination for Heru and for Junhao. And we'll see what Renard ends up getting his hands on here. But want to see some jungle answer here from IG in their first phase.
I mean, as far as picks go, right, Renard typically was the supportive character. You know, he was the person who would pick your Annies, maybe Twisted Fates, Lissandras, Gallios, things like that. Things that remain or sort of stick in my mind was that there was a Xerath game that he played up against short range.
It was really going well until he got caught.
It was going incredibly well, and then he died once and the game ended, and
the game was
brutal.
over. Yep.
So, you know, that's something they could look to. It's the Talia that gets locked in, so it's a keep the Annie at arm's reach. It's not a bad pick, especially versus Wukong. Trying to dash over the Unraveled Earth can be quite difficult, and again, the Annie in the mid lane, a walking money bag if it has no flash.
Well, that's very true. And some mobility out of that mid lane to go join up with Wei, always important. Something that we have been wanting to see from the mid laners of IG. And Bessa is going to be the final lock-in for TT in the first phase, as they have a pretty strong top side of the map.
Yeah, they do. Level 6 go buttons once again, so again, a little bit of an emphasis on making sure that something happens early on for them. Their scaling currently not amazing, but they've got really solid, really stable early game, where IG, not quite as much early game, but a good mid game with that Varus hitting probably Muro Mana and a nice spike there will be nice for Invictus Gaming to play around. Like the Renekton ban, it's probably the only ban that you have to give as Ambessa. Make sure that you've got a decent enough laning phase on that top side. And for Keshi, he's been struggling in that top lane, it's worth saying. Got bailed out in Game 2 by Junhao finding a gank on that top side, but Game 1 got solo killed. Looked like he would have been in Game 2 as well, but like I say, those the jungle bailout has been going that way.
That's the best part. That's the best part,
Yeah.
is the top lane. If you lose your lane, doesn't matter. Even if your jungle carries you to a victory, you get to say top diff, and you won the game. Which, you know, TT are going to be fielded 2 times now, as we do get the Poppy ban just in case by TT as their final ban.
Alrighty, so I think that they're looking probably to just match that bot lane. They see the Varus, unless, you know, it's a really rogue 5th pick that Arn's looking for. I wouldn't be surprised for them to just go, okay, well, we'll match AD here, and we'll go for something that I feel like needs a little bit of scaling if they want their composition to be powerful in that mid game. But I mean, they might go Callista here and opt into, you know, just full send once again.
Yeah, I do like some of that respect being given over to An with some of the cheeky picks he's willing to bring out occasionally, as we will see something that has been left open. Doesn't really have that cool synergistic combo yet with the Ashe, because it is already used, but the Seraphine comes in nonetheless for TT.
Could see Misfortune here as a pick for ThunderTalk, so might not be against that. Yunara Lulu is open for Invictus Gaming if they want to go for that. Obviously, the Varus can be flexed up into that top lane as well as a answer to this Ambessa. So we'll see what it is that IG go for. Both of those bot lane picks definitely worthwhile picking up here. And it's okay, we're going late game. We're going to try and play to 2-3 items. And I think that doubles down for TT here. Let's get Misfortune. Let's get something that's going to win early at the very minimum. and try and snowball this one out of control.
I'll give it to JiaQi and Meiko, though. This has been something they've been really comfortable on, something they've used in a lot of their better games as well, and just trying to keep that tempo in that 2v2 super crucial for them here in this one, as Jin does get locked in as the final pick for TT.
All I had to do to get the Jin to be picked was not say it's a good pick, you know, so that's great, as are now going to have, I mean, it's a pretty rough game once you get later on. Obviously, early stages, you've got a Seraphine in your back pocket. We should be looking to see you dumpster this bot lane. And I wouldn't even be against lethality Jin here. I know people are, you know, very, very heavy to criticize, but I mean, there are 4 squishy targets. If we want to go Dark Harvest, go lethality, not actually have to auto attack. Because if I get in auto attack range once again of Yunara, of Varus, I'm probably dying. So, you know, we'll see what it is that Arn goes for. Probably still going to be your cookie cutter standard build for the Jin, Hex Optics, or the Stormrazor, and then go for, you know, crit. But just a nod to the idea that we could go for something that's a bit more optimal versus this composition.
IG, they have drafted something a little bit more easy to execute. They have changed out the mid lane. Will it be enough, Roodood? Did you see enough in the draft to make this okay for IG?
I think they've got some, like, the draft looks good. I'm not going to lie. The draft in game 2 looked good as well, and they got bodied. So it's about Wei. Again, to highlight what we've been saying so much, it's when Wei succeeds, they succeed. And unfortunately for IG, Wei has not been on fire today. Usually he's jungle kingdoming, making things happen, but he's just not been able to get there. And Junhao has had very solid performances.
You could see a little bit of the fear in IG, banning away a lot of Junhao's champion pool left open, but this is do or die. IG's fate for season 3 of the year, as well as their playoff dreams, could die by the hands of TT after this game 3.
Alrighty.
Level 1.
Early invade going on.
I miss level 1.
This is what we need.
So
you miss level 1s?
I do. You know, decide the game in the first minute of the game. I loved that.
Yeah, you know what? I think
we
that's
had
what IG
so many
needed.
games decided by that in LPL back when I first started. It was ridiculous. Junhao will get the unfortunate news as he sees Wei exit his side of the jungle. Some chicky nuggies falling behind him as scraps, as Wei was able to steal away a little bit. He's going to just try to be annoying against Junhao.
And we can see here, this bot lane already going quite well for ThunderTalk. Arn and Feather going to have this opportunity down there to kind of bully out this Yunara Lulu early on. If you can't get access to Q stacks early on as the Yunara, you definitely can't look to fight this Jin on the wave. And especially with being sort of mandated to go cleanse with Seraphine and Annie on the enemy team, you don't have that barrier for early exchanges in those trades. As Junhao, he's spotted here on this walk into the mid lane. He has got W for a little clone, but yeah, Renard playing very nicely, very safely, very respectfully as well. And Junhao even messing up the cannon for Heru.
And I gotta say, I mean, a couple sides of the coin here for the mid lane matchup. As for Heru, it's like, all right, they're bringing all their different mid laners out. I must just be a Chad. For Renard, it's one of those dual coins of there's a lot of weight on his shoulder, because if he succeeds, it could be a massive spotlight to jump him right back into the conversation for the mid lane. But he was also a player that was replaced by Nya. And see the difference that has happened over these last couple weeks of him not playing.
Yeah, I guess the ruling is nobody beats Nya 6 times in a row and lives to tell the tale, or whatever it is. Obviously, those two mid laners had a very heavyweight series down in the LDL in summer 2022. It was completely dominated by Heru as he 3-0'd Nya last time out. And maybe for the sake of Nya, for the sake of mentality, he gets substituted out here before history can repeat itself. But with Renard in the mix, you said this at the top, it doesn't give more confidence particularly. I think that the substitution was good for Invictus Gaming and feel like it worked out quite well for them for the most part, as we do see this bot lane continuing to be a bit of
We've
a
achieved
stomping
the
ground.
dumpster.
Yeah, we have.
We'll see Wei go for a second serving of chicken nuggets here. Junhao going to try to stop him in his tracks. Wei has some good skirmishing early as this Trundle. He's going to use it as well as he has moved from Renard. Wei doing a really nice job of keeping some pressure up. This is the kind of performance that we want to see for Wei.
Yeah, and he can just walk up to Krugs here as well. He's got top prio as well, so wouldn't be surprised if that happened.
Keshi. One more auto would have done it. Wei wants to move over for the kill here. Keshi's trying to heal up with his pots. Junhao's going to have to go to the reprieve of the turret. Piercing arrow gets flashed out of. That was close to a double kill for Breathe. TP going to come in as Heru coming over. Keshi just going for the kill. Junhao wanted to follow, but it's first blood for IG. Heru arrives just a little bit too late.
Yeah, saves his jungler there, and actually, Renard flashed the wall over that tri-brush to make sure that he got her in time. Didn't actually profit anything from this. I like the fact that Keshi went for that. He knows he's dead under that turret if he doesn't make something happen, but it's still IG that come out on top. And again, with this TT composition, I think they're the ones that need to make something happen. So the fact that it's IG coming out on top in this laning phase is very, very impressive and also very important. Probably just going to be easily able to coast this one out. They've got Yunara, they've got Varus for the late game. Like, if they can just stay even down on this bot side and not fall extremely far behind, then they're in a good enough spot to take the rest of this game through that bot lane.
So we liked the draft. It was just the question of execution. So far, the execution feeling good on the top side of the map for IG. And again, Wei finally awakening in the series here and putting some pressure on Junhao for the first time, it feels like. Now, some re-change of the focus down towards bot side potentially. Again, dragons have been super important, super impactful in this series earlier on. We'll see both junglers pathing down that way as well as dragon number 1 has spawned.
Obviously, bot lane prio has been very well established by TT, but the rest of the map not so much. So if On and Feather can make that difference, they could maybe try and take this first dragon. Obviously, the rest of the map, like we say, not quite gone as well as Breathe working towards that hex plate number 1. Heru barely able to get out of that seismic shove there. Swifty Boots really making the difference so far, as that's an unusual pickup for the first item for Annie, but it's the one all the same.
Junhao, this time, third time, knows that Wei wants to come over. He was bringing Heru over as well, who has the Timber stun available. Junhao finally want to get a piece of his chicken. And
fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, also shame on you. Fool me 3 times though.
3 times is the one. Yeah, that's
where
what
I draw the
that
line.
was the quote.
That's not a paraphrase. Yeah, I nailed that, I think.
Yeah,
perfectly
yeah,
done.
for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Heru
Tibbers
in this
did
mid
end
lane.
up using that mid lane, Tibbers, though, and, you know, find a little bit of push out of the wave. We aren't going to get an early dragon here, it feels like, though, in this setup.
Junhao is spotted on a ward as he moves up.
Oh, public
Still gets
execution
caught.
connects. Breathe. He's going to be in some trouble here. Junhao's going to connect first. Wei is not in the vicinity here. Breathe going to use the Chains of Corruption here, really nicely buying some time. I don't think it's going to be time enough, though. Breathe going to be taken down in the alcove and taken out back by Junhao. Wei wants to come over and clean up some kills here. He's going to look for it. He has the subjugation. He's going to chomp down on Junhao. He won't be able to follow through on Keshi, though.
Finds a 1-for-1. Now, I do still think that this favors ThunderTalk. Whenever you get a jungle for laner trade, you'd tend to say that the laner is the one who comes out on top of that. Nice timing as well by ThunderTalk, as they did that just before the exhaust from Breathe was actually going to come back up off of cooldown, so knows that he's not really able to find a trade back. Good effort from Breathe, in fairness. He did get, you know, a lot of Junhao's HP down, made it really easy for Wei to come in. And as we've highlighted throughout this entire series, how do IG succeed? Well, they succeed when Wei's snowballing, and he's currently 2-0 on this Trundle. Nice CS lead over Junhao as well. And these are all of the success criteria that we associate with an IG win.
And that's feeling a lot better than the places we've been today, which I think for any IG fan is going to be a breath of fresh air. Something else that we're going to be looking at here soon is how this trade of objectives is going to go down. There is the opportunity to go the 1-for-1 trade here if they want to, and which side's going to lean into that is going to be decided here very soon. The push prio for TT could mean that they have advantage for the dragon.
I like the serrated dirk here for On in the inventory, leaning towards that, you know, collector first item, Youmuu's, whichever one it ends up being, maybe even a Hubris as well, as we've seen that item get a little bit of favor in recent weeks. But will be really good to try to bully out what is a very squishy set of members across this Invictus Gaming roster. Chickens are up for Mazel, and that means we've got a date with the junglers once again.
We've literally been there every time it's spawned on Junhao's side. Wei just goes over to see, oh no, Keshi in some trouble now. Will dodge out of the hail of arrows, and Keshi is okay for now, but ceding all that pressure does mean that Wei gets free ticket to the grubs.
So able to stay underneath this turret and will be able to grab the minions, which is a pretty big deal, but you can see that's not something that we can be saying for the most part, as down 30 CS on that top side does even it back up to about 20 with that wave being underneath his turret. Hexplate's finished though for Breathe, and that lethal tempo is a brutal one that once it's stacked up can struggle. Hexplate just helps you get those stacks going earlier on. Feather going to stop some recalls? Nope, doesn't see them, and Meiko actually sticks around a little bit here, maybe to try and hold the wave. They can't let this happen.
On's going to get a pretty big back here as the wave does still get walked in. Plate actually going over as well to On and Feather. We're having a nice little moment on the Jhin and the Seraphine early game, at least, as we did see those grubs end up going over to IG. The Dragon eventually now going over to TT.
Yeah, and once again, it looks like top lane is the focus. Keshi, no flash. IG, three people.
Dead to rights here. Oh, gets over the wall. Seismic Shove still connects, and they still find the CC. The pillar on the other side, and Keshi just has no game, no play.
And one of the rare instances where Ambessa ulti hitting the back target actually costs the Ambessa more than it helps her, looking to suppress way under the turret. Catches Breathe on the backside and just puts himself further from safety and allows Wei a quick walk out of that turret. Tier 1, or rather first dragon of the game, excuse me, picked up by TT as a response. Junhao did look to take that. But again, want to highlight the fact that this game, it's not easy for ThunderTalk. As we get later, I do think that this is a composition for them that really depends on their ability to snowball the game early. Currently, they've got no real inclination that might be able to happen.
Feather just almost dying outright there. Heru getting engaged on now, and the pillar sticks him. That just means that Feather goes down also in the bot side. I was waiting for it. JiaQi was just holding the flash there and just waited till Feather overextended, I'm sure. The cleanse also got burned. The heal also burned by IG, but this is the IG we wanted to see. This is the proactive Invictus Gaming that can win games.
Yeah, and that top lane that we highlighted was the sort of one shining light through the series, continues to be that. Breathe this time with a very big lane bully in the Varus has been able to keep Keshi completely out of this one. The Trundle as well done such a good job at keeping Junhao out as well. But Feather flashes over the wall here, thinks he's safe, but it's really good from JiaQi, able to get in. Does have to get a little bit of a flash and cleanse as he's caught up by some CC underneath the turret, but he lives, he gets a kill, and pretty much undoes all the hard work that had come from what was a pretty decent laning phase for the ThunderTalk bot side.
And obviously we saw the play right after that where Heru lost his flash as well, so that flash Annie play won't be there. TT struggling for answers, and the big difference in this game has been the swap of seats, it feels like, for the junglers. Wei was so quiet in those first couple games of the series. Now Junhao has been a bit on the quiet side himself, trying to just answer some of the plays that have been coming across from IG.
I mean, the plays from IG have been so successful so frequently that it feels difficult to imagine what a positive play for ThunderTalk is going to look like at this stage with flash and cleanse available.
Do they kill him?
Yeah, even in this 2v1, I'm not convinced that it's an easy situation for them. As
they're baiting a play. It's going to be bait for bait here. Wei does show up. Keshi trying to run over to Junhao. Junhao waiting to go for the engage. TP coming in now as well. Heru's going to join. Public execution goes onto the back line. They do end up taking Breathe down, but it's going to be a kill redeemed by IG. Couple kills going back to Take Tay, and they find the fight.
All three members from IG go down. The gold is snapped shut. and it's Heru who comes out on top. You can change the mid laner all you like. Heru is going to look to dumpster whoever IG put in front of him. A 3-for-1 on that top side. Yes, Keshi falls, but some really big blunders there from Invictus Gaming in that top side as on.
Oh, they got the pick. He doesn't have any way out. He had already used the cleanse. He's going to get ran down by Feather. They're going to get the flash out of Meiko. Curtain call. Open up, Meiko. It's a couple more shots. One more might do it. Fourth shot ready to go. Is he going to be able to hit it? The CC chain. Bam! That's going to be on, picking up the big kill, and a couple more going over to TT on the bot side. A play that ends up getting everybody on IG dead, and TT making a miraculous comeback.
Yeah, in the space of a minute, everybody on IG dies, and now ThunderTalk are ahead. Breathe. Big miss here, looking to get those blight stacks. He cues the wrong way, which means he doesn't have any actual uptime on spells. DPS of Varus is so reliant on those blight procs, but as soon as this engage comes through, it's Annie who's there, ready, and does so much AoE damage. Look at IG just walking over the Malignance procs that are just stood on the ground, tearing them to shreds the entire time. And yes, there's still a big lead for Breathe, but he's about to face check 2 people.
He did just face check, misses the Chains of Corruption, now might just get ran down by the entirety of TT. That's too many mistakes too quickly. Junhao finally kills him, just gives his life over to Wei though in the end. That's going to be the TP play trying to come up here from Renard as well.
Oh, this is a big commit. This is 5 people on that top side. You could see that JiaQi was making his way up there as well. So this is going to be Heru getting even more gold on the Annie. Going to be even more likely to explode somebody as this game gets into the mid, into the late game here. Because, I mean, 1,500 gold lead for an Annie. I can't remember the last time I've seen that. And it's not like Heru has been all over the place making massive plays. He turned up to 1 fight. This is, again, laning advantage being picked up by the ThunderTalk mid laner.
And it just seems to be a trend of the series, and it seems to be a trend for TT when we were looking at their last gasp efforts in that regular season as well. Heru's name coming up more often than not, and now making some big moments happen in a pivotal series for the future of TT here, and their hopes to get back into Group Ascend for the first time in a year and a half.
What a turnaround it would be as well for them. Still got to dot the I's, cross the T's. I think this game is still very much in the balance. Yes, TT have a 1k gold lead, but once again, they've got the much more difficult composition to execute as this game gets later. But they see Wei.
Wei's in trouble. The CC's there. He just gets blasted. Encore's going to connect here as well. Cleanse going to be used by JiaQi. Meiko in some trouble now. Current call opened up once again. Wild Growth going to be used there. Oh my god, another burst combo, and TT find the big pick on a JiaQi.
2 kills over to Junhao, who once again finds an advantage over his counterpart. This time, though, it's after he got bullied in the early stages of the game. This man has been starved of his Raptors the entire match, and he still comes out on top in these skirmishes. It's, again, that break point. This time it's even a little bit earlier, but about 20 minutes in, TT do something, and IG crumble.
And
we take a look at this one.
Oh, that's so tough. It's Wei getting caught out initially. The experience.
So many games played, but doesn't matter here. You said this at the end of game 1. Doesn't matter the games if you've not got the hands. Heru unleashes onto JiaQi, takes him down to about 1/3 of his health, and Junhao's there to do the rest of the work. Meiko with some fortunate side steps, but you're right.
All right.
This is good from TT. They decide this turret's not worth dying for. We're going to get top tier 1. We're going to get an opportunity to let our Wukong recall. Maybe that's not the big deal that I'm making it out to be, but it's a trade of tier 1 turrets. They've already taken the mid lane. This opens up the map that little bit more for IG, and again, with a 3k gold differential, that's truly very, very important here. I think that for Breathe, that snowball has completely halted. You know, he had Hexplate so early into this game, and since then he's just got really, really poor components as well. I think one of the fallbacks of Dusk and Dawn is that none of the components feel truly meaningful until you get the item picked up. So at this point, you know, you're just sort of sat with dregs of items, and then maybe eventually you'll have a strong spot to be in.
And I cannot emphasize enough the possibilities of this, right? Like, if IG go to Group Nirvana, first of all, they are not in playoffs here for split number 2. This is a team that has some of the biggest names in LPL's history combining back together again to try to make it work after not working last year as well. The fact that they will lose out on Group Ascend games, they will lose out on that possibility to continue the story this split, that weighs heavily on these experienced minds. And it's TT, the young guns, the at least picks onto the top side, the ones they're looking for, are just consistent. And it is a team that has been executing time and time again in this series.
And I mean, that's a wasted flash there by Breeze. Maybe Arm's going to do the same thing as he flashes over the... Oh! And that sums up this series. If you want
go ahead and bring up that graphic now as well.
Yeah, if you want a visual representation...
Bro,
that's
we
what
just got here, but
games in the LPL gets you.
Yeah, that's a tough place to be in, and it just feels like momentum is slipping for IG. But that's where I just have to turn that spotlight and shine it as bright as I can on TT, a team that has struggled, bro. They were once the darlings in 2025. There was a moment we were talking about TT to Worlds, and it was way too early. And all the way down this path, multiple seasons of just getting dragged out in Group Nirvana, and they are on the precipice of personally owning that moment and moving forward into the playoffs here if they can close this game out.
Again, ThunderTalk in split 1 of 2026. They won a single game, not even a series, a single game. 0-6 in Group Perseverance, 0-3 in the lower bracket through the playoffs to see if they could maybe make it into the playoffs themselves. And now find themselves 3,400 gold up, 2-0 ahead of Invictus Gaming, a team who at sort of 9 months ago were playing in a qualification match for Worlds up against the eventual champions. This is...
Yeah, and at the end of this, the championship, T1 said they were the best team that they faced.
Yeah, and this is a complete night and day difference for both of these organizations here. Coming into the day, expectation was TT, maybe you'll be able to take a game, maybe you'll just get 3-0'd, and it's been anything but that. IG have been riddled with problems in multiple areas of the map. The bot lane, finding a couple of 2v2 kills, yes. Mid lane, swapping in and out of different mid laners through the series, because Nya can't actually make something happen when he's got a 1k gold lead. Wei getting out-jungled by Junhao for the first 2 games. And the only real consistent point of this map for IG that has been a bright spot has been Breathe. But unfortunately, he's been now focused by TT in this one. Okay, yeah, you got to play Varus versus Van Bessa for a little bit of time, but now you're playing Varus into a very fed composition of players who can all very quickly kill you.
When we take a look back at the map states here, is still that pretty hefty lead for TT, still exerting some dominance. Is Keshi going to catch Meiko out? Meiko going to get the public execution out of him, as Keshi needs to be careful on this re-engage here. Seismic Shove going to be used. Now he's free to dash out. He'll be fine for now. Wei's actually coming over to look for a bit of a fight. He's going to use the pillar there, wanting to get a pick before the dragon spawns 20 seconds away.
I think that's a big tool, though, that ThunderTalk have just lost. No public execution means that any targets in that backline all of a sudden a lot safer. Eyes, though, need to be on Heru here as he's come back out of base. No Shadow Flame, but Proto Belt plus Malignance. The 2-item core for the Annie has been picked up. In game number 2, Heru was prolific. The reason that ThunderTalk came out on top with the flanks that he was able to find on Akali. On the Annie, you don't have the ability to maneuver over walls like the Akali does, but they're looking straight for the fight already.
Curtain call fleshed out here. Heru going for the flash play, going for the flank play with Keshi. Breathe is just down. Dragon win over, though, to IG as they claim their second here. Now they're going to look for this fight. Heru coming over with the stun. He's going in with the Tibbers. Gets the CC on Renard. Renard not going to get sniped at the Deadly Flourish, but Keshi's trying to chase him down. JiaQi is pumping, but JiaQi gets taken down himself. He is only a lonely carry in this world, and Renard is not long for it, too. TT find more picks, more fights, and more wins.
And they edge ever closer to putting themselves back into Group Ascend. ThunderTalk doing such a good job in these fights, constantly looking for those pick plays. Keshi and Heru syncing up beautifully on the side of that fight. They make that gold lead that Breathe has absolutely irrelevant. And then ThunderTalk having a really solid core, making sure that they can move in and take out the remainder of the fight afterwards. They aren't able to take down this tier 2 turret, and they did lose out on the Dragon, but the team fights are forever going their way. Renard leaves Breathe here. If they play a 2v2 on the side as both solo laners, maybe it can be a bit better. But Heru with a beautiful engage. He W flashes, so there's no chance to react from the Varus. On this top side of the fight, yes, the Dragon goes through IG, but they get no kills. Heru, I think, a little bit blindsidedly goes in. They manage to take out Renard there, and we need to cut back to live, though, because it looks like Wei is...
Oh my god, not again! This happened on the other side of the map, too! Wei's going to be fine this time. He has the shielding and the healing coming through with the subjugation. But the Baron, it's started up by TT!
Yeah, no subjugate, no HP, and Wei trying to get into this pit is going to struggle. Going to try and lifesteal up off of maybe some wolves, but... I mean, it looks like IG, they've just given this one up. They know that it's going on, and they're not going to do anything about it. Maybe it's 4 people and the Hex Gates. Can they get out in time? It looks not. 4K, 3K. Goodbye, Baron.
Breathe goes for the flash play with the Chains of Corruption here. Heru's still fine. Heru's actually looking for a re-engage. Another public execution goes wide. Encore goes wide. Everything from TT's going wide. Is this the moment they needed? But Wei's going to try to chase down Junhao. Here comes Keshi as well. They need to back off. On finally gets into the fight and is looking for his own kills. 4 shots to the dome as On takes 1. Wei is by himself in 3 members midst of TT, and a double kill comes through for the Jhin. Renard going to try to find one on Feather, but Feather does make it out alive. On with a 4th shot, ready to go onto Renard, but not going to find the purchase there. It's still the Baron going over. It's still the lead continuing to grow for TT.
And it's a 2-for-1 in their favor as well. They had all of their resistances drained. They'd taken all of that damage from the Baron, and it was still not close enough. Heru barely loses out on a 1v1 versus JiaQi down on the bot side of the fight, but it does give JiaQi that infinity edge. Constantly in these fights, the Unara is the one who needs to be looked at. He is the opportunity for IG to come back into this game with the power of a Lulu in their back pocket. Maybe JiaQi can save Invictus Gaming here. JiaQi promoted from group to group, organization to organization here, worked his way up through 2025, started out with IG in 26, and hasn't really been able to live up to the expectations that I feel a lot of people had for this young player. Riddled with inconsistencies, getting caught out on mid-wave, sort of inductions to tier 1 of anything else. But if you want to, to prove to yourself that you are worthy of this ascend spot, of that promotion, you need to be able to carry these types of games when the chips are down, when it's you or bust.
And it's always been question marks for JiaQi. I know a lot of fandom call him JiaQi Love, some of the harkening back to the TES time, but it is also something where this is a comfort for IG, for him. This Unara has been pivotal for them as TT look to siege down on the tier 2 and bot side. They should just be able to get this one. This Baron power play ballooning up to almost 3K after that one. They're going to try to push even more through this duo lane.
Taking the bot lane inhibitor always feels good, pushing waves away from the Baron. Means that next Baron take becomes really easy for you. Junhao can be forced to clone away here, and if they can just take out that bot tier 2 or tier 3 turret, that's when the map begins to open up that next level for ThunderTalk here. Looking for an engage though. Wall sections off Feather and Heru.
Encore coming through. They just wanted to try to deflect the engage of IG, and they did so nicely. Ultis used left and right there, but it will still leave a lot of tools on the table for both teams.
Last wave though goes in, and that's about it for ThunderTalk. They've not yet cracked the base. IG have stood strong.
They don't want to get caught here. Be a little bit careful on. He'll be okay for now. The pillar just slowing him down a little bit. The exit strategy is unleashed by TT as they move back over to the Dragon to try to tie this up 2-2 in Dragon score.
A little bit of tension here between ThunderTalk and IG. Yes, it's a 7.4k gold lead, but again, tend to think that making damage stick through the later stages of this game, very reliant on in that case. So if he can stay alive, then they should be good. And with the Infinity Edge being worked on. Once that's finished,
oh, it's done.
then
4
got that
items.
massive boost in the back pocket. And I think that for ThunderTalk, it's about just keeping this Jhin alive, making sure that the Seraphine's there to do the hard work. As this game gets later, the Seraphine gonna, for me, vastly outscale really anything that the Lulu can do, especially thinking about the Seraphine healing that we get at this late stage. Working on presumably that diadem as well is going to be even more bang for the buck of the Seraphine, and just make it so TT are almost unkillable.
All right, IG looking for answers here, looking for things to buckle down with. We've looked at their composition. We've talked about JiaQi being so integral, but it's how this dual marksman comp is going to work out. They do have all the damage they can ask for in that setup, but it's about how they enter these fights and some of the tools that TT have to get into their backline.
There's many tools. It's a long list, really, with the Encore, with Annie, with an Ambessa Wukong as well. Jhin curtain call over the top means that the absence of a true front line, way attempting to be that as the Trundle, but it's going to be very palpable if you can just find a good angle out.
This is looking like a tier 2 going over to TT. Deadly Flourish is connecting for the curtain call play. Keshi just around the corner in case a flank is needed. They were giving a little bit of gold to Breathe, who was farming out an outer turret the bot side. So that's at least something for the Varus to hold on to. Is Keshi going to get caught with a greedy back as the redeploy coming out from TT as they try to get their backs off.
Yeah, 30 seconds on the Baron here, and this is do or die for Invictus Gaming, not just for this game, not just for this series, but for their chances at a spot in Group Ascend for the rest of 2026, Mazel. Knights Road is a brutal best of 5. It's one, there's no lower bracket. You win, you keep playing in the top dogs, you lose, you spend your weeks questioning when I'm going to play next. As for ThunderTalk, they've struggled through that for this year. Boy, did they struggle in Split 1. Split 2, less of a struggle as they've made it into the playoffs, or play-ins, I should say. And I think if ThunderTalk do take this series, and they do take it in this 3-0 fashion, the question is, what's the limit? This Miracle Road that we highlighted at the start of the day, right? They've gone for only just securing a spot in the play-ins on the last day of their games to 3-0ing IG. How strong are this team?
Yeah. It's so crazy to think, and with the lack of games they had this split as well, just being in Group Nirvana, you wonder what could have been if they had more time, more moments. But I've got to give special shout-outs to the combinations of Heru and Junhao this series. It has been impeccable from these two. I mean, IG have literally pulled a rabbit out of the hat in Renard and tried to make a difference here, and it has not. Heru still has found massive leads to then enable Junhao's aggression, and it's been beautiful to watch. TT trying to put the finishing touches on this series, trying to put the finishing touches on IG here in Group Ascend in 2026. Encore coming through. Breathe going for the flash play. Heru gonna get the CC back onto him. Breathe in some trouble now too, and a beautiful flash from Heru does get him out. Public execution, and it's TT sending the dogs of war at IG. Renard's about to go down. Renard goes down first. Big size but shove, but it's gonna be Keshi who's running rampant and on. Finds another kill. Deadly Flourish. He's gonna go golden. Breathe in some trouble. TT take him down. TT, they might just do it.
They don't just might, Mazel. 40 seconds on all 3 carries. ThunderTalk with a 10k gold lead and a 2-0 record so far are going to stamp their seal of approval on this series, push themselves one step further.
For only the 3rd time in Nirvana's history, a Nirvana team will beat a Group Ascend team. They will send IG down to the dust, and TT, they've done it. They've beat IG, and they've made it to Group Ascend.
A 3-0 series. Coming into the day, yeah, we had that scoreline. Maybe ThunderTalk could get 1, maybe even stretch it to 2, but a crucial 3-0 over Invictus Gaming. Sums up their split, to be honest, riddled with inconsistency, but with no consistency at all through this series. It was just ThunderTalk all game, every game.
Where were IG, man? What happened? I mean, no bad talking about TT here, but that was not the IG that I expected to see in Night's Rivals.
Yeah, I think ThunderTalk just... well, whatever has happened has happened. They turned it up today. They played incredibly well. They're playing to, at the very least, the level of some of our top Ascend teams, if they are easily able to dispatch Invictus Gaming like that. And I think that the way they were closing out these games, pretty clinical. And you know, we talked about the experience that these squads have. ThunderTalk, not an experienced roster particularly, with 2 rookie solo laners in their back pocket, but clearly some of that more veteran presence, Junhao being able to honestly manipulate Wei for games 1 and 2, and then in game 3, that sort of tenacity to come back to make sure that whatever had happened to him, yeah, I've lost all of my chickens, guys, it doesn't matter, don't worry, we're good, we're chilling, and then just continuously make it work. That game was, IG had a small lead, Breathe was dumpstering Keshi in the top lane, but then 1 3v3 goes the way of ThunderTalk, and they just ran away with the match.
I am just shocked, man.
Yeah.
TT, they're back in the spotlight, baby. I'm so excited to see this team in playoffs. I'm so excited to see Heru's continuation here, some of the newer faces on TT. But also Junhao, just running away. Gives me some hope for some of the higher tier junglers that we're going to be seeing him face off against in playoffs.
I mean, I wonder what happens for some of these players now for Invictus Gaming as well. Like we were talking about this a little bit off screen. Are they going to keep all 5 of these players? Are they going to be happy to be playing in Nirvana for the next?
There's no way that Breathe, Wei, and Meiko are playing in Nirvana next. There's no way. And if it happens, come at me. But there's no way that these guys are playing in Nirvana.
So you can see there, 13 minutes in, and IG are doing quite well. They're having a pretty good time of things. But then, like we mentioned, that 3v3 happens on the top side. It's a complete disaster. And, well, the rest for Invictus Gaming is unfortunately history. And it's history that they will not want to repeat. But they're going to have to deal with that for the next split.
Yeah. And with a lot less games to figure out what works for themselves. As Renard was not the answer. TT just seemingly had the answer here. And even if Keshi had some tough moments in lane itself, some of those end moments for Keshi in this Ambessa game were insane. Some of the angles he was looking for, you have to be riding the edge.
Struggled through the laning phase, absolutely. There's no problems with us saying that. Sometimes you're going to be put in a lane where you're playing against Varus as a melee champion, and you're going to struggle with the lane, no doubt. But the ability to come back, the ability to play that late game and have those massive team fights and be the big reason that your team can come out on top, it's glorious to see. And it's great to see a rookie top laner as well be able to have that wherewithal in the brain to go, okay, I know that this isn't about me for now, but I'm going to do what I can to make it work in a bit.
All right, let's start talking about it. Pog and Palm.
Yeah.
Player of the game, player of the match. Who you got?
I think player of the game is tricky. I think honestly there's a discussion for, and this is going to be the same thing for the player of the match as well. There's a discussion for Heru. There's a discussion for Junhao. I think that Feather and Arm, the 2 people that we kind of highlighted coming in as big pickups for TT, feel like in this series they were the stabilizing force that allowed for that strong top side of the map, or that strong mid-jungle duo, to really begin to thrive. And I could make an argument for either one of those 2, Junhao or Heru, getting both player of the game this time, player of the match next time as well. I think Junhao struggled a little bit through the early stages of this game. Maybe that's just a product of picking the Wukong into Trundle. But Heru never really struggled at all. He was just crazy.
They thought they had him there. They used everything on him. He didn't even lose like a little bit more than half his health. Like, that's just insane. And yeah, it just feels really good for TT. Some of the crucial moments, some of the execution here. And I know they're going to be feeling very hype going into playoffs. And TT have done it for the first time since 2025. They're back in Group Ascent.
And Invictus Gaming, yeah, first time since 2024 summer where they were...
Since when Nirvana first got introduced.
Yeah, 16 teams, so 8 and 8, or was it 18 teams and 10 and 8, either way. IG, they barely made it into the playoffs for that as well when they were there. They were a 4th seed out of Group Nirvana last time. They'll be hoping to do a lot better than that for the next split. And I think that for ThunderTalk, this is now an excellent opportunity for them to really start to put some legwork down and begin that improvement that I'd like to see from them, because we don't know where they are relative to the rest of Ascend. They've just 3-0'd the 7th seed, which in Invictus Gaming I think is, we could have had NIP there, we could have had Weibo there. Again, that one went pretty much down to the wire. So are they better than NIP? Are they better than Weibo? And if they're better than them, then how much better than the rest of the LPL Ascend are they? You know, this playoffs
That's
now,
the beauty.
I think is really, really entertaining to watch. And this creates another question, Mazel. We've now got 2 teams who are in playoffs, which means they're joining the top 4 who get their pick. Who do you pick? Do you pick WE or do you pick TT? Like, theoretically, you'd pick the weaker team. I don't know conceptually who you'd be looking for as the quote-unquote weaker team to be picking as BLG here.
Yeah, it's going to be some tough choices, as we're actually going to take a look at the play-ins bracket here to see what the rest of the matches do have in store and where we've come from, at least at this point. And not easy decisions, Roodood, so far, as the opposite sides of the spectrum here for match 1 and match 2 on the day, the first day of night's rivals, as WE took a 3-2 over LNG and TT took a resounding 3-0 over IG.
Yeah, so those are the 2 teams that can now be picked. Again, if you're BLG, the expectation would be you'd take the lowest seed possible. Now, theoretically, that could still be a Nirvana seed. But out of these 2, I don't know where you'd put the weaker spot to be between TT and WE. I think as a Group Ascend team, you sort of better the enemy you know, really. You've played WE many times and beat them many times. For my money, I think we take WE here, and then let ThunderTalk, let somebody else deal with them. They look crazy good.
they definitely do. I think that's the craziest thing about this. But hey, so far it's paying off, and we're only 1 day in to the playoffs now. Yeah, it's about to be even more fun as we move forward. Speaking of moving forward, I want to give you a last chance before I start bidding us adieu. Any thoughts on the day? Any thoughts on this start to the playoffs? Well,
I think this is why people watch the LPL. I don't know that we've had 2 upsets today. I think there's argument to say that LNG could have beaten WE. True. But we've definitely had one. We've definitely had one upset today. And that's the power that the playoffs gives you. The power of play-ins as well. This has now decided the fate of 2 teams for the rest of 2026, which feels a little weird to have on a Saturday afternoon, evening, or morning, wherever you are. So congratulations to ThunderTalk, because they played for their spot and they earned it with ease.
Yeah, part of me is a little bit heartbroken for IG, but I'll have to deal with those emotions as we go out a little bit later. TT right now rejoicing. But as we do start to say goodbye, we got to give one last big thank you very much to our Elite Coffee supporters, as being able to support the stream is so beneficial to all the volunteers that are a part of this. Please go ensure you if you want to support the stream itself, you go check out our coffee. And big shout outs to Aaron Soup and Mung. But that is the best way to support the LPL English volunteer project, is to access our coffee. That being said, we'll be back tomorrow for more games. Same